Hey guys, how are you? How you doing out there? It's Marcia O'Connor with the O'Connor Group. All of you probably know we specialize in outsourced HR and recruiting. Yes, there is a lot going on right now out there. It's absolutely unbelievable. And in regards to the vaccines, in regards to hiring people, these mandates out there right now too. So HR is going on full speed ahead. So we're going to get through all of this. We have some questions in here, so we're going to go through that real fast. First one is from Carrington Crothers. Hello there. How do you know if having a business partner is the right decision for your business? And a little background here. I am a commercial product photographer, and the other day I had someone approach me with a pitch to partner with me on my business. I know they have a solid photography background, but don't know how to know if when those decisions are made or the steps that are taken to come to a decision. I feel I am in a position where my business is slowly starting to take shape and get traction, but this pitch caught me off guard and I don't know what to think about. Well, two things. If you ever basically even have a business partner, number one, you need to trust them completely with everything. Because what happens is once you sign a deal to do like a partnership kind of a thing, it's 50-50. First thing in your mind is like making sure they're going to work just as hard as you are. So, but there are other ways of doing this. So what you're talking about is maybe some kind of like a referral business too, meaning if they have something, they have a business, you have a business, if they refer you work, they get so much money out of it. They're very easy to come up with, work with. You can get them online, and I'm sure Sean probably has that too in his resources online, so feel free to do that. But there are many ways to do this. Like I said, one's a 50-50 partner. You could be a 60 partner and 40, but when you start doing like legal documents and like tax returns and all too, you really want to make sure that you find a partner that you can completely and wholeheartedly trust. Because I've heard so many bad stories of things not going through very well. And you know what? Things happen. Sometimes when you're bringing in all the money, people get lazy. You want to make sure those expectations are very clear up front. And like I said, you can do a referral contract as well. I got that with several of my strategic partners out there. And when they refer me something, even though I still have to pretty much win it, there's basically for a full year after working with that client, every time I work with them, after net, I basically do it net income, meaning after all the expenses I paid my consultant, I'll give them a percentage, typically about 10% for that referral for the year. So there's different ways to do it that way. And sometimes it's a one-off. You can also say, hey, for each of your referrals, depending upon the dollar size, I'm going to give you $500 or I'll give you $100. There's so many ways to do this. The biggest thing is trust. You need to trust the people that you're working with, and you got to make sure once you set this up that you are true to your word. So like if you say every quarter going to get a check, every quarter they get a check. But again, it's making sure that you really do trust this person. I would say from what I'm hearing here, start simple. Basically have a partner with you, but say, hey, for every time we do this, there's a certain amount of money that you'll do instead before you get too much legal stuff, okay? Hope that helps a little bit, but there's so many ways to do that. But talk to a lot more people about that too, because there's a lot of people that have partnerships, they have silent partners, they have strategic partnerships, and they're all written differently. I hope that helps you a little bit. But be careful. Rajesh Mojani, hello there. The question is, how can I find a suitable marketing co-founder for my startup? I am working on an app by which students can get fluent in English online. We give Zoom-based classes to students where there are max 5 students in the class, so all of them get to talk and practice a lot during the session. The concept is getting very good reviews from the students, and I'm thinking it has big potential for a worldwide audience. We have 2 batches filled so far, but there is a scope to fill lots and lots more batches. My challenge is that I am a software engineer by profession. I enjoy the product building part more than the sales and marketing part. So even though I've done the sales for the last 2 batches, I want to focus more on coding development and product. So any ideas on how I can partner to complement my skills? Here's the deal, Rajesh. I think that's great. There is definitely a market for this, and you want to basically even have investors basically working with you, because products can sell a lot faster than pretty much anything else, especially when it comes to like software tools. And if it's easily put together, and then maybe a bigger group can do something like that. So all those much larger, educational, like Coursera, there's Frontline, there's a whole bunch of them out there would probably buy something like this from you. But you've talked to, there's got to be areas, I know Sean probably has a bunch of them too, but you're probably looking for investors to really help you with that. He said a suitable marketing co-founder. You could always outsource your marketing too. I would always, when you are starting, I try to outsource as much as possible because you want to keep basically, your balance sheet strong, but your expenses are low. And lots of times you have to spend it on the sources out there to get the marketing out there. It's not just the marketing, it's also making sure, like, if you grow really fast, getting that revenue to really build it to where it needs to go. Sometimes you want to have basically some investors involved with that. There's a few people I know that Sean has on these mentor sessions, like Dan. Dan could probably be a really good person for you to talk to. Dan, I think his last name's Debate. So reach out to Sean, have that conversation and I would definitely do that. The marketing is one thing. There are a lot of marketing firms out there. I'm sure Sean has a lot of them that are part of AO that you could reach out to about all those pieces, but you got to figure out what you want. I think you're going to explode in growth because this is definitely something that's really needed out there. And that happens, you just want to make sure that you can scale that. And what does that look like? So really work with Sean and his team of experts here to help you going with that. Okay, but good luck. You got this. I know you do. John Santiago. Hello, John. As a first-time founder, congratulations. You have a few mentors and team members that have helped you build your company throughout. Absolutely. You're introducing a new people into the mix, which can almost always change the dynamic in a group. How do you manage egos in these situations? You are a startup record label. Congratulations. Designed to support artists with services never offered through a label within the music industry. We are able to launch crap getting real. So how do you manage egos? Listen, I tell people when I have meetings, leave your egos at the door. This is about this vision. This is where we're going. And if anybody has an issue with that, then maybe you shouldn't be here. And you want to be very clear about expectations, communication, and be real about the conversations behind it. Don't be afraid to speak it up. But if you see somebody having that, you got to call them out on it. At least my perspective. And you want to make sure that you're really clear about that. When you're a first-time founder, you got to keep in mind people look at you as you're inexperienced. You don't always know what you're doing. You're a little bit more gullible, more naive. And you're really not. You got to stick to your gut on that. You got to make sure you have like an advisory team around you that really knows their stuff and can really help guide you. And you can have advisory teams, but you don't pay them anything. You're just asking for guidance. And if you do hit off, you can always do like a piece of equity. There's so many things that you could do down the road to help you out with that. But like I said, I know for me, it's been 14 years for me now. It's been a tribe of people and wonderful people. And, I've had egos on my team before, and I've called them out on it because I can't afford to have an ego on this team. So you just want to be very clear about it. Expectations are clear. That communication is clear. And, you're going to have that horrible conversation sometimes of saying maybe you're not the right fit. And that's painful. But you'd be surprised when you have those really hard conversations. It's amazing when that person leaves how much your team blossoms because that person was basically keeping them back. So you want to be very careful about that too, okay? But you got this. And congratulations again. All right, AJ, how would you pursue an overdue accounts receivable with a client? Okay. A former client owes us about 1.5 months of retainer for work performed in good faith. I pursued this for 2 months. They haven't responded to any inquiries. In hindsight, I shouldn't have carried on in good faith for nearly that long before ending that retainer. But I was caught off guard because things were running well. Well, listen, we've all been there. We're still there, kind of a thing. And it's really important that you always have somebody really reviewing your AR. And anything that goes over like 60 days, you start putting phone calls in versus 90. Because then all of a sudden, sometimes when you go that far, they'll say, well, why was this brought to our attention? I was like, well, we've been sending invoices out to you ever since. They're like, well, I don't think we should be paying all this. They get really picky. That tells me, too, that they have cash flow problems, by the way. I also have used outsourced, basically, their collections agencies. Now, keep in mind, when you do that, they get a percentage. So if you're owed $5,000, you might only get $4,000. But at least you get something from it versus nothing. So when you get there and when they get that collection notice, that's not good for them because that's going against their credit rating. So you be very careful about that before you do that. And, I have a situation now where I have a client who I've sent them invoices. He's like, no problem. I got it. I know he has the money. We're at that point of saying, okay, now I can't be really nice about this anymore. What are we going to do here before I send a collections agency to your office? And they don't want to hear that because, like I said before, it hurts their credit. Now, keep in mind, also at your end, I can tell you this as well. A lot of those AR come in literally like the last 2 weeks of December because people are cleaning off their own AP, right? And they want to get that invoice in this year so it accounts for lowering their revenue because a lot of people did really well this year. So there's different ways to skin a cat, but a little bit of fear sometimes go a long way, but you can do it the proper way. You want to make sure you have documentation. You want to make sure that they get it and it's a certified mail. And that outsourced collections agency will help you through all that and they'll walk you through that. But you do get it because a lot of employers companies can't stand when they get a collections receipt. It makes them look bad on the marketplace. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit. You might, what I do too, sometimes when it gets really crazy, it's like, hey, I think it's time for us to have a deep dive conversation here. I'm really concerned about this. And remind them, you're a small employer. Cash is king. And, I can't believe you're putting me in this predicament. Make them feel bad. And I have no problem doing that now because I don't think it's fair when I know that they have cash, they're floating cash. And so I'm at that point anymore. I'm like, okay, I do it 3 times. And after my 3rd time, a collection agency now comes into their face. So good luck with that. But if you want to talk, there are a lot of collections agencies in the area. Talk to like your local Chamber of Commerce or other people that might have used them because some are really good and some aren't so good. Okay, hope that helps you. Hang in there. But make sure you put things in play now, though, that doesn't happen again to you. It's a lesson to learn, but unfortunately it's an expensive lesson. Okay. Corey Stevens. Okay. What and where would you go if you needed to write an elevator pitch for your business? And how is that different than creating your sales pitch? I sell medical licensed water ionizer. It is used in hotel, restaurants, hospitals. It produces 5 different types of pH water ranging from strong acidic to highly alkalized and produces, a lot of stuff in here. Got it. So your elevator pitch, it's funny. To this day, you're always going to be told that. What you want to figure out is what do customers need to hear that's going to sell your product. That's the long and the short of it. And if you can figure out a way that you can figure out what that pain is, what is that pain going on right now? And maybe it's something because you're working with water that's really acidic and stuff like that, and you could put up stats of saying, did you know that your water, basically, we have people basically drink clean water. Simple as that. And then people are interested in that and saying, hey, let's talk more about what you do and how you do it. For example, I could say my HR side. COVID made HR cool. And people are like, yeah, you're right, because I need to know more about these mandates and more about this. And so before it used to be like a 3-sentence pitch that I had. I don't do that anymore. I find out exactly what is burning and keeping them up at night, and then I target that, and that becomes my sales pitch. So sometimes, honestly, I know the marketing people are going to shoot me to say this. They like that consistent pitch. This is what we do, blah, blah, blah. I agree with that. But I also have to be careful the client that you're working with, because each client's looking for a little bit differently, and you want to make sure that you listen to that first before you say what you do. But if you're in that elevator, just say, I'm always HR outsourced recruiting. Very simple, very plain. But when you start talking to me, you'll see how different we are from basically a competitor and how we take care of our employees and stuff like that too. But you've got to get that hook first to figure out what that is. Now, I've been in business 14 years, and I had tons of pitches and yada yada. And you know what? And now all the time I say, I'm outsourced HR, outsourced recruiting. People get it, they understand it, they need it. And then the rest I basically work on with the statement of work. So I know it sounds crazy. People spend a lot of time on this, but really focus on not what you're thinking this company really is, but what your customers think it is and what they need. Very, very different, okay? Hope that helps. Sean Drumgo, alrighty, the master estimate. I like that. What are effective ways to market and sell to franchise organizations as a vendor? Honestly, I don't know, because I am not in that world, Sean, so I apologize for that. There are a lot of groups that work just with, franchisees, kind of a thing. I would say, I'm sure Sean probably has a plethora of people that do that already. I would definitely target him and try to find out who in AO are experts in that area. I am not, so hopefully that'll help you too. But Sean's such a great network out there. Guys, feel free to use it more than you can ever imagine. And go to his sessions that he has too, because you really will find new friends for life. And it's just having that understanding that you're not alone out there in regards to building a business, which is half the battle, because it can get very lonely, but it doesn't have to be, because there are other entrepreneurs like us out there that we will help each other no matter what. Stephen Davis, okay. Do you let your executive virtual assistant read your email? I think it depends. You run a PEO and HR. Oh, that's right. Hello, Stephen. We met out there in Nashville. I run a PEO and HR consulting firm and receive about 100 to 200 emails a day. I feel your pain. Of these emails, 25% are actionable in a day. You know what? I have a VA. To be honest with you, I do not let her read my email. But what I do is I have rules set up in my Office 365 by Microsoft. So those certain emails go to certain, folders. And the ones that I know I need to read go into one folder, so that I only take time to spend on that. So I'm not wasting my time throughout the day, blank, 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 blank. So my virtual assistant, I will forward off to her immediately anything that needs to be scheduled for like a meeting or a Zoom or whatever. But I do not let her read my my email. Now, there are some other people. I have a good friend of mine, Brad. Yeah, I think he's actually one of our mentors too. I believe he does have her basically do all your emails. It depends what you want them to see, what you don't want them to see. So as long as you're okay with that, let them read your emails and make sure they feel comfortable with all that. But, it's like pulling the shirt off, right? So it really depends upon what you want to do with that and what's in those emails that you either are okay with them seeing or not. It comes down to trust as well, as you know, okay? I do not, just by the way. Heather. Hey, Heather. How are you doing? You're looking great on Facebook, sister. When sending an employee for a drug test, is it best to have them accompanied by a member of management? No. I hear what you're saying, but they have to go to that place. They get their little cup. They do everything. Listen, some are going to pass it flying colors. Some went to Google, spent $100, got that sample, put it in undisclosed locations, and used that for their sample. And that happens. Part of life kind of a deal, but I would say it wouldn't be a good idea to really come with you. It also puts a little bit of fear in your new employee. It also puts a little bit of distrust. You want to make sure that you're starting off the right foot, but I would suggest highly don't do that, okay? I know you said you had an issue with an employee involving one of my vehicles. We have an on-site drug test, but I realize I need to have an option for sending her to a facility for better accuracy. Is it best to have them accompanied by a member to ensure accuracy? Honestly, it's not a good use of time, and I don't want you to be tainted, but unfortunately, you have that proof of basically all that stuff. I wouldn't do that at all. Now, most of those places are pretty secure. You go to the bathroom, you put it in the cup, and then it goes into the thing. And we've had some stuff that come back to us that's like more of a red flag, and maybe it was too diluted, too much water. We've had a whole bunch of plethora of issues there too, but I wouldn't accompany somebody, but I would make sure that they do it in a certain amount of time frame as well, because that also, it takes I think it's like 72 hours to get certain drugs out of your system. So if you do it in a certain amount of time frame, they have to do it that way, and it's hard to get should I say, the Googleized version of urine quickly. So you might want to do it that way too. So the faster you do that test result, that might be the easier way for you, okay? Sorry about that, but it's amazing what they can sell out there. Monica, so what are ways to validate your business idea? I'm trying to validate a business idea which is some type of ring and or bracelet to identify available single people looking for love out and about in everyday lives. That's cool. My original plan was to get feedback from 100 people, and I have been unsuccessful at reaching 100 single people at fast yet effective ways to move forward. People like to feel wanted and feel needed. And if you set it up where people are like, hey, everybody, maybe do it, as a contest or as something that they see results from. People are funny. They love receiving things. They like gift cards. They like knowing that they're part of a bigger mission, and they love contests because people love to win. So maybe if you could figure out like, hey, I have 200 people, and what we're going to do is every single one has a number on it. And for the next 3 weeks, we're going to pick a lucky winner who's going to get this or that. You'd be surprised of how many people will wear that bracelet. Okay, so these are just ideas out of the blue. But talk to like 4 or 5 other individuals and do like an innovation day where you come up with ideas to incentivize people to wear it. So just don't think about like, hey, help me out, move it forward. Think about a bigger picture of saying, hey, we're going to have this huge contest, and it's more along the lines like to see if this works or not too, and hear your stories. Or maybe put on social media, hey, we want to hear your stories. How did this work? And, putting them out there. People love that kind of attention too. So these are just things and ideas for you, but think outside the box with something like this and make it a bigger thing than it is. You might get more response than you can ever imagine, okay? Reach out to me too if you ever need anything. Just let me know. M. O'Connor at TOCGRP, but I love trying to be creative and helping other people out there. Let me know. Paulina, all right. What is the best order in which offer and rejection letters be sent out in? We just had an accounting manager that I was looking to hire reject our job offer via text. Nice. Everything looked good and she was ready to start. I have no idea what happened. I reached out to the second candidate that I would like, asking to set up a call on Tuesday. I'm looking to note the lesson on this. What is the best sequence to announce job offers? If I had to do it again, I am thinking that I would notify the candidate I want to pick first and then give them a deadline. If they accept the offer, then I notify the other candidates the position has been filled. Listen, I know it is a tough market right now. What I would find out, though, is to me, the curiosity for me would be, why did that person turn me down the first time? What was missing? What can I do better? And tell them that, listen, I'm a growing business. I want to learn to become better. Could you let me know as a favor to me, why did you not take the offer so I can learn from that? What you want to do, though, with all of your candidates is you want to set it up so that they're all excited, they're so motivated, but to say, hey, you know what, we have some things in place, I should know better. And what you set it up is like having your first person, you don't want to go more than 3 days for a decision. Sometimes you do a week, but right now I would say like 3 days to make a decision. And just be, then you have that second person lined up. They don't need to know about that first offer. And you don't tell them that you're my second offer. Doesn't go well. But what you want to do is set it up in your head so you're strategically planned it out, saying, you know what, I'll have an answer by Wednesday for you. Are you okay with that? And then you can say yes or no, but then you already have your answer from your first one. Now, listen, this is a live and learn lesson. It took me years to get this method down. So don't worry, you're not alone. But, by all means, have that conversation and find out why they said no, and do it more of a learning. Like, listen, I love learning. Like, when I get a client that rejects and say we're moving forward someplace else, I want to have a personalized call with them and say, hey, I appreciate that, and thanks for the update. How could I have done better? What do you think we could have done? And you know what? Once you let that guard down and they let their guard down, they tell you a lot of things that you like didn't realize that. Thank you for that input. But in regards to offers, 3 days max, have that conversation, put that offer out on Monday, and then have that other person waiting and say, hey, I'll have an answer for you on Thursday. Do you want to set up a time? Set up a time so they know that you're serious, and then move it forward that way. So that's what I would do for next time, okay? It's all how you position each of the candidates. And they don't need to know that the other person got an offer and they didn't, okay? But that's what I would do. All right, sounds good. If you have any questions, I can walk you through all that myself as well. Kristen Pitts. All right, how do I learn to be happy in the present? Enjoy the journey. Struggling to be patient. I want my 10 years plan to be there already. Things are going great. I'm progressing on course. No issues. Yet I feel depressed and I'm broke. I want to be happier. Kristen, all entrepreneurs do this every single day. And all I can tell you is, the first 5 years were really tough. It was up and down. I went right into a great recession. I wasn't having the best relationship with my husband. Things were really rough. And my son was young. I had a lot of responsibility with my father. It was a lot of work, a lot of pressure. And you know what? I just kept, I'm a big faith person, so I prayed a lot. But I also, I just, one day at a time. One day at a time. And yes, I'm impatient as well. I want the next 10 years, but then 10 years comes. And you look back at that 10 years and say, wow, did I waste it thinking about the future? Why didn't I just think about today? So right now, I don't know where you're at. I'm outside in Philadelphia. It is sunny. It is cool today. I'm enjoying this entire day. I get to see my son this afternoon. I am loving life and realizing that, I have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I had to keep that momentum even through my first 5 years. And trust me, I had some major dark days when I lost all my clients except for one in 2009. And yes, I was broke too. And I kept saying, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of this. And it was one day at a time and one day at a time. And we did. But you can't have that negative feeling. So even though internally everything was sucking at that time, people always ask me, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing great. I said, business is awesome. How are you? People want to be hanging out with people who are exuberating that confidence no matter what, whether you're doing well or not. They never need to know that. And if you start showing that, they're not going to do as much business with you. It's a tripling effect. It's amazing how it works. And I would always be positive and always saying business is great. And even my husband at nighttime be like, business isn't great. I'm like, stay there. You stay there. Because I had to have that positivity around me. One of the first things I did when I first started my business, I had to remain positive. I had to keep that sales going. It was really hard. I remember I didn't have contracts. I didn't have a lot of stuff that I have now. And you know what? I believed in my mission. And I had to have other people believe in me. Even though inside I was crying every night because it was really hard and very stressful. So one of the things I did in the part-time was I became like an Arbonne salesperson. And I said, I got to make some money to at least keep things moving over here. And so I would do that at night and go to people's houses and make up, blah, blah, blah. So not me, by the way. But I love their line. And the nicest thing is every month, my sponsor and I would go up to Allentown for these great sales motivation and things. That motivation thing with all these happy people about sales and yada yada was amazing. I would leave there on fire, the world, here I come kind of a deal, even though I knew that my bank account was probably in the negative. So that helped me being positive, and I can do this and get it out there. And clients only want to work with you if you are maintaining that. So keep that in mind, okay? You got to be there. You got it. But hang around people who are happy with you, and listen to so many YouTubes and wake up to a motivational tape. You got to hear it from other people. And it's tiring and draining because I'm the cheerleader all the time, but I got to believe in what I do, okay? And we have one more question. Karen Shane Crothers, what is the best way to handle an upset client about an invoice reminder? You know what? You want to make sure, sometimes I have invoices go out 30 days, sometimes I have 45 days, sometimes 60 days. Just have a conversation with them and be like, how's the family? What's going on? Hey, what's going to work for us in invoices? What works for you? Does it make it easier for you? They just want to be listened to. And sometimes you just pick up the phone and have a conversation. Most people don't do that. So be different, have the conversation out there, and set it up where it's a win-win for both of you, okay? All right, guys, that's how much time I have today. I apologize, it's usually an hour, but I actually have a full day today. Every half an hour is a little booked. If you need anything, reach out to me, M. O'Connor, all O's, at tocgrp.com. I wish you only the best, a really, really happy day. And you got this, guys. I'm serious because it's awesome. Hello, Sean. Hello, honey. Hello, James. And hello, Vesna. It's, have a great Friday, guys. Make the most of it. And you know what's great out there? 3 things today. 3 things. Tell people things if you see them in the hallways or whatever. Oh, I like your hat. I like your shirt. I like your shoes. You have no idea what they are going through today, but I can tell you by saying that one nice thing, not only do you feel better, but they're going to feel better about their day as well. And you never know if they're going to be a future client, okay? It's that one client that makes all the difference, so don't forget that. All right, guys, you guys got this. Take care. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Talk soon.